to talk about the MPC Key 61 and how I use it for live performance. This device can be used a bunch of different ways. You could use it and just play it like a regular standard keyboard. You could play classical music if you wanted on here. It's good for anything, which is pretty amazing, which is not something I would say, at least in its current form factor, I should say, for the regular MPC. Not without an external keyboard, I wouldn't say that. I can't imagine trying to sit down and create classical music with 16 pads. It would just be a little bit of a problem, I think. Personally, I'd need actual keys. Anyway, so here we are sitting in front of my MPC 61. Now what I'm going to do to start with here is tell you I've made this template, and this template is pretty basic. It's got a kick drum, hi-hats, 2 clap tracks, bass, and an organ. What I'm going to do with this track, or with this template, is show you how I would create the beginnings of a track. I'm not going to do a whole track. I'm just going to give you some concepts and some ideas that you can then take and run with to create your own music. Now, one thing, and this is kind of a big thing in my opinion, is the separation of instruments. And what I mean by that is when you think of creating a drum track or a drum loop, you think it all in one place. You think you got your kick and you got your, so maybe your drum track, your drum loop is, and you're thinking, okay, let's just play that way. But really, what ends up happening is that if you do it that way and leave it as one track, you lose a bunch of control over the instrumentation there. Like if I want to, the way that I do my drums, I can easily pan my instruments or change the volume of a particular hit versus having to go through a whole bunch of actual edit the sample or something crazy and to keep it all in one track. All I would do is basically look at the mixer and it would be there as a separate instrument. Like if I go right now to my mixer, you can see that I've got my instruments laid out across each track. But you can see each instrument, when I change channels, is playing on a different actual channel. And that gives you a lot more control over the way the instrument actually sounds in your production. Let's go back over to main. Okay, and now I'm going to go back to my kick drum. And we're just going to do a simple 4 on the floor type kick drum here, okay? I actually probably don't even need to program it. I could probably just go right in here and just go right here. And there's my A1. And if I go in here with my pencil, I could just drop those in. All right, there we go. That'll work. So we get rid of one that's there. We should be good. See how it sounds. There we go. Perfect. All right. Now, let's go back over here to my main screen, and we're just going to go to my hi-hats. Now, I could do the same thing. I could just draw them in. This time I'm going to play them in just for the sake of showing you what's up. All right, so now when you play an instrument in here, what you need to do, I'm just double checking sure it's not set anywhere else, you need to set the track to record mode. If you don't have it set to record mode and you record, nothing will happen. Nothing will be captured, which I think is interesting. And I feel like maybe there could be a way to that I'm missing here, but this is the way it works for me. So just going to go with that. All right, so here we go. I'm going to hit record here. And now I'm just going to wait for this to come around to the beginning. You can see the little white bar here going across. There we go. Get some of that in there. and I just made one of the mistakes I was going to tell you about, which is don't hit record when you want to record over another track. Always hit overdub. If you hit record, it will actually erase what's there. Okay. Let's add some. Do that over again. Sorry. There we go. Now I'm going to turn off record again, disable record on this track, and now we're going to go to the clap track. It's right there. And I've got record enabled. All right, there we go. There we go. Now, one thing you'll also notice here is that if you look at my track, this template I'm using, if I click over one more track, you'll see there's a C2. Well, C1 is my clap track 1. Clap track 2 would be a variation of clap track 1. Now, sometimes you want a little bit different of obviously, you would almost always want something different in your drum track, to keep it spicy. You want something, different. So what you can do here, if I go into menu and hit track mute, and now I mute track 1, right? It's muted. Now I'm recording on track 2. So I will go back over here, turn that off, go to C2, and now enable recording. You'll notice if I play now, there's no clap. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to record a clap track here. Right. Which is quite different than the other clap track, right? So now I'm going to go over to menu again. We'll go to track mute. And now if I unmute this track, the red one, and mute that one, you can get some variation in there, and you can change it up whenever you want. They're always going to be synced to each other, okay? Because even though it's not playing, it's still following along. All right. Now this can be used for any instrument. So you can use it with drums. You could use it with your bass. You could use it with your organ, whatever you want to use it with, and you're good to go. And now you can do this you can fill all these pads with different bits here. So let's go back over here, go to main again, and we're going to jump right to the organ, okay, because I'm really digging the organ. All right, let's be sure I'm not recording. I am recording over there. Turn that back to organ. All right, so now what we're going to do is I'm going to record a little bit here with this. Okay, so let's turn on record here, and that record, and here we go. Now you don't have to think in a limited way that you have to have one track or another playing. You can actually use this method, and you can use these instruments on more than one track in many cases, as long as the instrument is not monophonic and the polyphony is high enough. So if I go right here, I don't have this track created yet. I'm going to show you right now how to do this. We're going to go to the next track. It says unused, okay, and I'm going to go, and we're going to call this organ, orgab, organ 2. All right. Now, let's go back Now let's plan a little here because this is just in my head now. We're just gonna kind of something like that maybe. Let's see how it sounds. I'm gonna just track, enable the record, so when I hit record, I'm ready to go. Let's record that. Now I'm going to tell you right now, I want a little more to this, okay? And there's a lot of ways to get that little more in there. Like if I want this to go longer. I want it to be. Whatever. I can either record that as a separate pad and then alternate between the pads, which I can show you how to do if you want to see that, which I'll just show you how to do it. Or I could go, and this is another way to do this, okay? Because right now, our whole song, if I go to main, is only 4 bars long, okay? It's only 4 bars long. And that's fine. But maybe we all of a sudden go, oh, dang, we want this to be 8 bars because I have this other part I want to record, and I want it to be right after that other part, and whatever, you know. You're gonna, if you hit this 8, go to 8, what's gonna happen is you're gonna hit play, and all of a sudden you'd be like, where'd the music go? What happened is you only have 4 bars of music, so when the 4th bar ends, it just drops out. Because right now, each pattern is following right here. See this SEQ? It's following the sequence. And because we changed the sequence, well, now our pattern doesn't fit it anymore. Okay. Every bar has 4 beats. You probably know that, I'm assuming. So what we can do, and what I'm going to do right now, is I'm going to go through my different instruments. My kick, we'll start there, okay? And instead of being on sequence timing, I'm going to take this and I'm going to change this to be 16 beats. Then do the same for my hi-hats. Yeah. My claps. Put that to 16. And then I didn't use my bass. And my organ, I'm going to leave on the longer. Actually, organ, the first organ is actually 16, so put that 16. And the second organ, I'm gonna have follow the sequence because I want this to be longer. Okay. And it just drops out. Not a problem, right? Hit overdub here, and now I'm going to add that second part here. I just added that on. Now, the last part of this that's really cool is now, okay, so we've got like a nice little backing track, right? What if you want to take this one step further in your live performance, and you don't want to just have this backing track, but you want to... jam over it. Now, one thing you'll have noticed is when I went to pitch bend, is the entire instrument bent with me. So you may want to have a free track for that is not part of the playback track. So maybe I want to go over here and add, let's just add one more instrument here. And we'll change the plug. We'll add a plug-in for that one. And we'll give this a... Now I'm going to go over to the... I'm going to go over here for a second, and we're just going to turn on one organ, the original organ, okay? Track 8, as you know, is what I'm on in the other menu, right over here in main, okay? So that's what I'm playing on. So now I play over here again. Forgot to disable that. I always do that. Sorry. Let's try it again. Get the idea. Anyway, I hope that was helpful, and I hope that helps you figure out how you're going to put together your live set a little easier. Now, the other thing that's cool, just so you know, is that you can do this for each song you put together. And you could put together your whole kind of set list, if you would, this way, with built-in instruments, with a performance instrument. I mean, 7 instruments, or 8 instruments, really. I'm thinking 7 because... subtracting 1 for a lead playable is still pretty awesome. And the other thing is that if you are using the software, one thing I thought that was kind of cool was that the 8 instruments is only when you're using the hardware. The hardware, which I think I'm getting really hooked on this keyboard. I got to tell you, the more I use it, the more I love it. And I don't think I ever want to get rid of this thing. I think this is my new jam. And I definitely had no intention of getting into a new DAW until I got this. And now the MPC DAW is pretty, I don't know, it's pretty good. I think it's got a lot of potential. And I don't think it's the best DAW out there. It's good, though. And it integrates so good with this that it makes me want to use it because... I get to use the hardware I'm really digging on right now with this software, and it expands its capabilities. And you can use other instruments, and you get some control over them like you would kind of with the Native Instruments keyboard. I don't know. I'll stop talking, but it's just really cool. And the more I use it, the more I love it. Akai, thanks for bringing out such a great piece of hardware. I know it's got some, mixed reviews here and there. Some people don't like it as much. Other people love it. I think I'm starting to be one of the people who just loves it. Akai stuff is just really moved in a way I can't really describe, especially because I feel like if I use it on its own without the DAW, I have gained a lot more freedom to make music without all this computer technology, which I love computer technology, don't get me wrong, but sometimes it's nice to not be so dependent on it. The actual computer itself, sometimes it's nice to not need a mouse or a keyboard that you type on, not a piano type keyboard, because I'll always need one of those. Anyway, hey, I hope this was helpful. Let me know what you thought. Leave comments below, like, subscribe, and hit me up if there's anything I can do for you. I am always here. I'm always trying to make things better. And if you talk to anyone who's been on my channel and had a question, you'll know that I typically try to get back pretty quick and often respond with a video. Anyway, have an awesome day. Take care. Be safe. And I will talk to you all in the next one.